Joining in, Mayuresh Joshi, Head Equity Research at William O'Neill, India. Mayuresh, great to have you on the show. After a positive March series, would you say there's a spring in the steps when it comes to the way forward? Quite a few events to watch out for. The April 2 deadline looming. We have the RBI MPC meet, and the earnings season also kicks off. So how are you, how are you approaching the market now going forward?
Morning, Nandita. Pleasure to be on your show in the first place. I think everybody's waiting with bated breath on what happens on April 2nd and what does Trump announce in terms of tariffs. But one thing is getting very, very clear that if the tariff impositions happen at the rates at which these tariffs are expected to be, I think a large part of the hit that the American economy itself will take will be quite significant in terms of price increases that will be needed to be taken across sectors, across industries as well. And that's just not tenable. And therefore, I think there will be bouts of negotiation, renegotiations on tariffs, reciprocal tariffs, which will take place. And therefore, post-April 2nd, I think the next few weeks, in my opinion, will be highly volatile in terms of how these negotiations take place. Having said that, from a macro perspective, as far as India is concerned, I think a large part of the calendar year was largely dominated in terms of monsoons, floods related to that, elections, liquidity not being there in the system, so on and so forth, and therefore capex not coming in from the government side. But all that has probably changed. And as we hit the first quarter of this year, RBI has provided enough liquidity into the system. We're already seeing government capex come back very, very strongly. Tax cuts have got announced into the budget as well. And therefore, with the expectations that the first quarter and first half would see significant amount of discretionary spending coming through, a mix of government capex coming back very, very strongly, liquidity infused into the system, and expectations of a very good monsoon because of La Nina conditions evolving. Rural consumptions, signs of urban consumption, earnings trickling back post Q4, though Q4 will be soft in my opinion as far as corporate earnings are concerned, might hint to a better earnings recovery as far as Indian markets are concerned. And therefore, I think outside the US, I think if there is one market which might actually do well, assuming macros turning, micros turning, Nandita, that actually might be India. So I think we might go through a one-time phase. But in my opinion, I think as we hit the first quarter of the next financial year, I think things will start showing improvement as far as India is concerned. And therefore, the markets should also start reversing, in my opinion, in a positive fashion, bottom out as we end Q4 or the next few weeks. And therefore, I think Indian markets, in our opinion, we are one of the strongest placed markets as we see in the global scene, at least as this calendar year or financial year.
Sure, and and that's there's evidence supporting that as well, given the fact that FIIs have made a comeback. If you look at the last few sessions, and the sell-off has also slowed down on a monthly basis. If you look at the data, but let's talk about the stock of the day. BSE, do you think now the stock is up for a re-rating because now that SEBI has intervened in the expiry day wars? Does that remove a big overhang and fears of market share loss in the option segment? Do you think that's out of the way for BSE?
Seems to be the case. I don't know about the re-rating part, but yes, I think these concerns probably seem to be out of the way. And obviously, I think the street, which probably believe because of what happened in the past few weeks that they will lose market share, and because of the market share loss, the earnings might be hit anywhere between 12 to 15% I think all that probably gets recouped to a large extent. Obviously, I think the core business expected to grow at a decent pace. The annuity business also expected to grow at a reasonable good pace going forward as well. The macros big picture argument stays put. Equities as ownership is still very, very low in India compared to the rest of the pack. Demat accounts should get added at a thick and fast rate over the next few quarters, next few years as well. And therefore, the big picture argument stays put with them. Obviously, the bonus announcement also helps. And therefore, I think the recoupment in terms of the stock price is very, very evident as you see on the screens right now. The momentum can very well continue for BSE, but one really needs to be looking at which risk reward buckets we actually fall in at this.
Okay, let's also shift focus to autos then. Of course, that was a talking point yesterday. Trump has started walking the talk on tariffs and 25% auto tariff. Tata Motors, expected to be worst hit. 30% of JLR volumes comes from US. and 20% of consolidated revenue may get impacted. But what does one do really with Tata Motors, especially for those who are invested? Is it time to get out finally, or how should one really approach it? Because a lot of pessimism has already been seen in the price. So how do you navigate?
Yeah, so I think the price has taken a hit, no two ways about it. So I think a large part of the price damage is now probably getting priced in as far as Tata Motors is concerned. Obviously, I think JLR volumes, one of the largest, around 36% as far as North America is concerned. And therefore, how do these tariffs play out is going to be very interesting. In fact, the trade deficit, Nandita, for US was $302 billion for the last 2 months, which is one of the highest that you've probably seen in the past few decades, which means that a lot of industries were actually front loading a large part before the tariffs actually start kicking in. And therefore, I think how tenable are these tariffs going to be, specifically for the auto industry, because I think a large part of the markets where at least the entry and the mid-level cars are being made, whether it's a Hyundai or whether it's a Kia, all are manufactured outside the US. So it's just not going to be tenable as far as the entire tariff impositions is concerned, because ultimately the consumer is going to take a hit. Till that point of time, I think the stocks might be beleaguered. They might actually stay lower unless there is absolute clarity emerging on this front. And therefore, I think within the auto pack, I think the two-wheelers, at least at this juncture on the domestic front, as far as the entire sector is concerned, probably look a tad bit better placed. TVS has given a stellar performance so far. Margins have held up, earnings have held up, volumes have remained strong, exports specifically have regained their strength as well. And even within the domestic mix, the geographical reach, the expectations in terms of more dealership, the electrical platforms, electric mobility platforms are doing well for them. So I think two-wheelers might do a tad bit better in my opinion. With the rural recovery also, stock like TVS might actually perform better in our opinion. Also the piece in terms of global EVs, there has been a distinct slowdown that has been witnessed. The expectation is a mid-single digit kind of a growth that will probably come through. And again, I think the Chinese intensity, BYD, the kind of models that tech that they're producing, might also put pressure points in terms of how the global EV platforms, the investments that they've done, lower demand, might actually play out. So I think a safer bet that we believe is two-wheelers within the auto space in the Indian.
Okay, two-wheelers, the preferred bet when it comes to the auto space. But, the recovery that we've seen in the market in the last over the last 8-9 days, how should one really ride on that? There are clarion calls when it comes to which sectors to pick. A lot of experts have pointed out banks, private banks would be one of them. But any contra sectoral calls from your end, Mayuresh?
Nothing contra. I think what we're doing is domestic themes might actually do well. And Pandre, our institutional software, is actually throwing out a lot of these domestic oriented themes. So I think banks, financials, obviously a consensus. We like them selectively as well. But within the domestic themes, again, I think because of the expectations of a strong monsoon, rural recovery, I think a few of the agrochemicals players, a few of the fertilizer players, a few of the specialty chemical players, a few of the broader-based stocks related to rural discretionary demand might actually do well, and that is being thrown up in the ideation watch lists that our software is probably throwing out at this juncture. A few hospital stocks within the healthcare space might actually continue doing well. Our own sense is that what they've reported from a Q3 perspective, that can very well continue. And where there is a lot of pessimism as far as earnings outlook is concerned, this space within healthcare might actually deliver a consistent earnings growth, which the markets would ideally like to see, believe, and probably re-rate or give a better kind of valuation matrix as far as the overall markets are concerned. We are a little bit cautious, as I said, autos, outside two-wheelers, and very, very selective on two-wheelers as well. And on the IT sector as well, we would ideally like to see the kind of numbers the IT sector reports, what kind of management commentaries come through, and what is the management perception in terms of the entire landscape from a macro and a micro perspective, which will be very, very clear in terms of Q4 numbers and the commentary.
Okay, last question really. Your thoughts on L&T after that ultra mega order win? Order inflow guidance, the company may surpass that because of that. But does it address the margin weakness that the company has been grappling with?
So again, I think what has really transpired is that execution was coming under some sort of a pump in the first half. Again, for a platitude of reasons. Monsoons, your elections, capex had slowed down, order tendering had probably got delayed. And all that is now back-ended, right? Now, whatever is expected to come through will be significant enough. So the kind of orders that L&T might probably keep on winning across different segments, including heavy engineering, including hydrocarbons, including defense, might be substantial. The margins are pretty reasonable. The working capital cycle is well controlled at this point of time. And therefore, I think the expectations in terms of the company expected to execute these orders well should happen over a periodicity of time. Again, leadership stock within the entire capex team that we've seen, a barometer to the Indian economy. And if the Indian economy with a big picture argument has to grow substantially, which it will, compared to the rest of the globe, my own sense is that the mirroring effect in terms of earnings and balance sheet dynamics will play out on L&T as well. Rating rankings seem to be fine as we see the market with India. The other parameters, including institutional holding, ROEs, from a cancelling perspective, seem fine as well. So anybody holding L&T should continue.
Right. And is there merit in buying defense now with all the good news around order wins and even the fact that Europe is, ratcheting up its defense spending? And with these stocks like HAL, BEL up 20-30%, do you think it merits or do you think valuations are still a concern?
They might always remain a concern, but I think that is where I think the earnings are coming. The big picture argument again is that the growth visibility is there for the next 5-6 years. Shipbuilders in particular, that is something that we like at India. Rating rankings are superb. Shipbuilding industry as a whole, 40% of the entire fleet as we speak is more than 20 years old, which means at some point of time, either they get decommissioned or they come in for repairs. So I think shipbuilders, both from a repair or a new shipbuilding perspective, will benefit significantly over the next few quarters, next few years. And again, all these orders will come at very reasonable margins, very, very decent margins, which means as they execute well, the earnings will keep on reflecting onto their balance sheet. So shipbuilders, Mazda, Cochin, in our opinion, rating rankings look fine. They are having super price strength as well, and therefore they might actually continue.
All right, that's the call on defense. Shipbuilding companies poised for a strong growth going forward. With that, Mayuresh, would like to thank you as usual for taking out time and joining us. Always a pleasure to get in your perspective. And I wish you a very, very happy long weekend as well.
Thank you so much, Aditya. Wish you the same, and always a pleasure being on your show. Thank you so much.
Thanks.